Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Eat, Sleep, Cry, Repeat. My name is Ami Meoded from Little One Cat. Together with me today, Lori Lickstein. How are you, Lori? And in a couple of seconds, Lori will talk about very interesting things. But the very first question to Lori is tell us about yourself and what is your background and what you're doing for living.
Hi, thank you, Ami, and thank you, little one. I am excited to be here. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, clinical psychotherapist. I work with all ages, but I've lots and lots of years of just primarily working with kids and teens, and worked in hospital settings, Johns Hopkins Medical Center, which everybody's heard of that, and local psychiatric institutions that are nationally recognized, Shepherd Pratt. Also, I have a private clinical practice. I've been in private clinical practice for a long time, and I'm very excited to be able to talk about children's development, my specialties with trauma, and how to have healing and healthy tomorrows.
Lovely. So today we are going to talk about a very interesting subject, which is traumatized people who became parents and what can be done or what is the repercussion or what should they be aware of in terms of raising their little and fragile babies. So in order to start, Lori, what is trauma?
What is trauma? I also didn't mention I'm a mom of 3 boys. So, in addition to all that, they're grown up now, and my little dog you can see in the back. So, what is trauma? Trauma is an interesting, simple definition, but a very complicated sequence of events that comes to it. So, it happens to a person, or a person experiences or witnesses that kind of it threatens their sense of safety and their sense of it impacts fear. So all of these things that we go through in life, we can have big T traumas and little T traumas. We can have a direct thing happen to us as we're growing up. We can have, divorce. We can have bullying. We can have victimization. We can have a community that experiences riot. We can have a car accident. We can have a parent pass away. There's all sorts of things that can impact our sense of safety and the way that our brains interpret and make sense of our surroundings. So that's my simple definition.
So the way I understand what you just said, trauma it's an event that had happened in the past, but it's with me for a while or for the rest of my life, right?
So, yeah, good question, right? It can be complex. It can be over your entire lifetime. It could be, or over your entire childhood. It could be and it is with you. And it could be something that happened to you after you delivered your baby. It could be something that happened to you before you delivered your baby. Trauma can happen to you while you're pregnant, and that can impact your baby. So it is exactly what you said. It's something that is with you, that has happened to you, either witnessed or to you or experienced, and it becomes a part of you. Yeah.
In order to simplify it again, I would like to ask you if you can improve the next sentence. Can we say that traumatized people can be two type of traumatized people? People who know or aware of it, or people that behave the way they behave without even understanding that they were traumatized, right?
Exactly.
I see. So let's imagine that person or that family, or and they are going to have a baby. Okay, let's discuss first of all the people who are aware that they had trauma in the past. What would you suggest them? What is the first thing that you would like to tell them?
The most important thing is to, well, one, find a therapist that you feel comfortable with, because it's important to, or you can do your own self work, get some good books. I can send to little one, and little one can post a tip of helpful books for parents that have experienced trauma. The most important thing is regulating yourself. So learning yourself, learning that that something's happened to you, and so learning how to be present is the most important thing, because being present is what your baby needs the most from you.
So when you mean presence means is to be aware, to talk, to communicate, to hug, to kiss, that kind of things. What is
Exactly.
present? What is
Well,
presence in terms of raising a kid? Because presence at work is, for instance, can be listening and be to be involved during a meeting with the conversation. What is about to be present with baby? More details.
yeah. It's such a good question. Trauma is so complicated in how it can express, but if we just think about triggers of trauma, things that kind of get our bodies to react, it's always through the senses: sight, smell, touch, taste,
Wow.
movement. We
Okay.
always add movement as the other one. And so baby screaming, baby smell, or smelling your environment. Or so one of the things that I like to do one of the first things, trigger, right? So recognizing whenever this comes up. So whenever a trigger happens, your brain can go right trauma, but you're not realizing that you're responding to something that happened a long time ago. And so becoming present, one of the things that I even do with clients is, if you start rocking, you're standing up, you're talking to somebody, you start rocking, the person across from you is going to start feeling comforted. It's just we can use ourselves, right? Husband and wife can use themselves. They can communicate. It's called co-regulation. We can help each other feel more in our bodies. So grounding more in our bodies, more here, more attuned to what our baby needs. And so what we can do is, it's a very simple trick, but touch 3 surfaces, and you touch the surface and you name it. Okay, I'm touching my chair. It's cold. It's soft. I touch.
Why it's important to do that? Because you would like to activate most senses. What is the reason to
What
do
we
it?
know from research on mindfulness, and what we know in research on grounding and on trauma, is that using the senses can bring us presence. And so this is a trauma trick. So it helps the brain come out of this part of the brain that's safety, called the amygdala, and it brings it. When we're in a trauma response, the front of our brain, the prefrontal cortex part, the part that is the last to develop, the attunement, the executive functioning, decision making, it's offline. So
I see.
when we care for our babies, we want to be able to see that they need us. We want them to be able to understand that they
So,
need us.
let's assume that we are talking about traumatized mom. She has bad memories about and any time she meets her trauma, and she has her baby in front of her. The baby is crying, or the baby girl, she's crying, and now she is in a situation with the bad phone call she just received. Sometimes it's not about one thing; several things that happen together. When you say to touch surfaces, how about to touch the baby? How the baby can help me in my process of getting rid of beside of going to psychologists and to handle it with the problem, I'm talking about the symptoms. How can I use, sorry for saying that, use the baby to release it, to be present, as you just said?
Such a great question, because it has to happen in the moment. And so one of the first things is that thinking about it intellectually before this happens, which is I want the moms to know there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken, you're not damaged, and you're full of love, and you want to connect. And in that moment, it's preventing you. So if you aren't responding to your baby is now experiencing a little form of trauma too. It's attachment, and that will impact, and we don't want to do that. And so whenever you're in that space, being able to, one, know that if you go and you wrap your baby in a blanket, you can wrap them up. You get that little fuzzy feel against you. You can have that feeling next to you. So that's weighted on you. One of the other trauma tricks is having a weighted blanket for ourselves. So mom can put a weighted blanket on her lap, hold the baby. Don't put the baby in a weighted blanket. Baby has a nice little soft fuzzy blanket. Hold the baby close and breathe, because you're going to use your breath. Breathe long breath out, and that what that does, it helps your calming system called the parasympathetic system to come online, and you're going to breathe calm and slow. You're going to hold the baby, but the baby will help regulate you, and you'll help regulate the baby. And you'll find yourself you're going to work to be able to feel the baby's head, smell the baby, touch the baby. This is going to bring you present.
How about kissing the baby? The touch of skin to skin. How about that? Because this is even a much more powerful sense to kiss the baby, because you smell and the sound of the kiss and the touch of your lips. How about that?
Well, if it's triggering for the mom, then you do exactly what you say. You put your cheek up, put your lips up, the baby will feel, and that will release that wonderful oxytocin in you, and for the baby, the attachment. As you feel more attachment and you feel more comfortable and you feel more present, you can kiss the baby's head. You can sit, it's so important. Also, you can read to the baby.
Oh
I'm going to put a little
why reading to the baby can be
parent tip of a wonderful.
No, you're actually
Well,
telling me that. But no, I'm sorry for interrupting you, Lori. You're actually telling me that kissing the baby is for myself as traumatized parents. Reading to the baby, I'm actually healing myself. This is what I'm here from you. It's not just about doing good for the baby. It's doing good for myself, right?
Exactly.
I need to hear it in your words. It's important to understand that.
Yeah. Well, reading and playing music, because it's going to calm you, bring you present. You can, and there's certain books that are kids' books speak to a very simple place in our hearts, and they speak to us. So the traumatized part in us will be able to connect far better. Plus, we're giving. Plus, we're connecting. We're connecting with our baby, which is helping us, our brains, feel safe. Oh, I can connect and I'm safe. And then that makes the next time even easier and even better. And you may cry, but that cry may be a good cry because you're feeling love. And so as you're healing, your baby is not only part of you, right? Your baby's feeling love. You're not taking love from your baby to heal yourself. You're sharing.
Yeah, I understand.
Music. You put the baby up on your chest if you're having a hard time, get a, little strappy thing or a little, connector, and you dance. You sing. All of these things will help you because it's changing the way that the trauma came up in you now is being transformed. It's being transformed in your brain, new neural connections to say it is safe, it is okay.
So I hear from you that any parent should sing, dance, kiss, and read stories to his kid, his baby. But more than that, traumatized parents has to do that, since it will force him in a nice way to be present and to heal himself in the long term. Again, it's not instead of going to the to therapist, but in real time in this fragile period of time of baby's life, you are much more present and you're doing better, you're doing well, right? This is what you say.
It's so wonderful you say that, because you don't have to always go to a therapist you can do this. And we can pass down trauma through it's called epigenetics. It's like the way our DNA expresses itself, right? We can pass it down by our environment. But what if we change our environment through attunement, through love, through dance, through song, through safety? And you don't need a therapist for that. You need yourself. You
I
need
understand.
connection.
The time is running, and I have a lot of questions for you. So I need you to promise me that we're going to have more calls, because this is massive. So many things we can talk. I will jump to another subject related to the very same one. How about parents that raising a baby and they don't even aware they're traumatized?
Yeah,
So I would like to ask the first question on that. What is the symptoms that might happen that they need to tell, that the red flags that tell them, guys, you need to do something with that?
I'm so glad you asked that question because my head was going there. I thought we didn't cover it. So blank face, not smiling. With with my kids, I was so excited every time they'd open their eyes and they'd see this, big smile on my face because I wanted them to know, yay, love, joy. But what if I was numbed out? What if I was impacted, but I didn't realize it? What if I disappeared in my own book and kind of let my child just stay in a swing all day? So we have to listen to what other people tell us, but we also have to listen to our baby. Our baby's telling us, hey, I need you. Our baby's crying, or our baby may respond by looking away. There's 4 different attachment styles in how we grow, and you can, there's anxious avoidant, there's secure attached. You can look it up on the internet, and our connection with our baby is somebody had wrote a question. It's a great one. This may apply more for older children, but how can parents help their own kids who may go through their own traumas in their lives? So
Yeah,
you mean adult?
this is the question. It was asked by Lily. Lily is from, she's amazing. She worked with us and she's doing an amazing job. And she's here in her internship. Read the question. What do you think of that? Yeah.
This may apply more for older children, but how can parents help their own kids who may go through their own traumas in their lives? And so I hear her asking, how do parents, as the kids are growing older,
how you stop that? And it's like something that can, it's like,
it's a great question, right?
yeah,
Right. I can answer.
because one generation brings it to the next generation, and it somehow need
Exactly.
to be stopped.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Lily can come from 2 different places. What if I have a healthy childhood with, parents that have connected and hugged me and kissed me and, made me feel safe and protected? And why I said to wrap that baby up, because you're making the baby feel safe, but the kid grows up and something happens. So one of the things is we are building resilience in our children with having this core growth in terms of safety. It's complicated brain science, but information comes into the brain. I'm going to make it very simple. Information comes into the brain, and the thalamus, this part of the brain, says, where have I experienced this before? And a child that had early problems, traumas growing up, not attachment with the parent, fear, it goes straight to the survival part of the brain as their mechanism. But we can build resilience where the trauma can actually go. We can't block traumas. That stuff
But
happens
we
in
can
life.
control it. We can reduce the impact of it. But when you say, as parents, we're building resilience, it starts in the early stages. You don't start to build resilience in the age of 12. You need to start in day one.
It starts in
So
the belly.
talk to me in simple bricks. What is to build resilience when I have a baby newborn? What to do?
Safety, connection, and predictability. Not, so that the baby can make sense of their environment. Whenever they're born, the brain develops from the bottom up, right? So you start off with the brain stem, which is this, eat, sleep, poop, all that. And then the limbic system, the emotional part, and the babies in that emotional part, they're learning from their parents how to make sense of the world. And we can help that brain with their safety. We'll have more conversations about this, but how we can do this is through our own presence. We can't control all the environments, but we can control our ability. If our child falls, instead of saying, just get up and keep going with the bloody knee, you're good, you got it, we can make sense of it. We can say, I can see that it's red. I can see, what does that feel like for you? I can see that we can help them make sense of things, and that helps to build resilience, builds their learning centers, builds their brain processing, the way it goes right brain left, how it's going to integrate the data coming in. And then I think she's asking also, how do we help somebody go through trauma when they've had a trauma. And the very core of going through and healing from trauma is connection, safety, right? There's lots of therapy modalities and there's lots of ways. Trauma is all pre-verbal, according to Bessel van der Kolk.
I,
And
I,
so,
ha- I have to tell you something, Lori. The 20 minutes gone, because
already.
and yeah, so fast. And what you just said, we are working very hard here to uh, develop technology that will do the equivalent of what any smartwatch does to your steps. How many steps you had today? Well, we would like to know how much time you spend in singing or kissing or reading or playing with your baby, not because we are trying to how to say track you as good or bad parents, just to reflect you what you're actually doing, because we are very busy in our life, and traumatized people, and I'm talking from experience, forget themselves very fast. We don't really aware what we have done, what, and sometimes you need this mirror in front of your face again, not to judge you, just to remind you what should be done.
And also, how would you know, right? This is such, little one is so
We
amazing.
are going
And
to talk
I just
again.
want,
We have to talk again, Lori.
yeah, I'm just saying how I feel and why I want to be, again, talking about this is that when I think about this, I think about the kids that are presenting with learning difficulties. Trauma can look like ADHD. Trauma can look like behavioral problems. Can look like oppositional defiant disorder. But it's really about these early childhood connections, attunement. Having that space. But how do parents know? How do you know? Right? You may think that you're doing everything right. Maybe you have to have a nanny. That's a whole other conversation that you aren't even the one that's
Sorry,
there.
nanny can be very professional but traumatized as well. Sorry,
Yes.
she
Yes.
can be perfect and she does everything on the way she should, and nobody has against her or him anything, but they are human being, and
Or
all of
other caregivers. I have cases like that where,
yeah
as the adult, I mean, for Lily's question, which is really important, is there can be an adult that has a body memory, and then they find out that when the babysitter was there, this happened, and
yeah.
that it's again, this is so important work, and I'm so excited to be able to.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I had the, how to say that, the honor to host you, to know you first of all, and then to host you here. And I would like you to say, I would like you to, I would like to host you again, and we're going to have more live talk on this here, because I think this is one of the most important thing people don't like to talk about. People don't like to face it, and we need to find a way to use our device to do it in a nice way. We don't want to judge people, but the moment we do it in the right way, I think people will behave differently. Because we didn't discuss that, but in many occasions we have when we have a couple of parents, like one of them traumatized and the other one doesn't even know what you're talking about. It brings another issues that I would love to discuss with you later on.
Yeah, and
So,
I think I'm on your website, so anyone can write me questions. I'll email back. I'd be very happy
oh,
to.
we are building right now a Facebook community for little one that care. We will invite you over there, and I would love to discuss different kind of things like that. So I would like to thank you for your
Yeah.
time today, and I would like to thank everyone who tracked us and anyone who asked question. And till next week, I would
Bye.
like to
Thank
say
you.
bye to everyone.
Thank you.